Good evening and many thanks for joining us. Welcome to Impact Kenya, your brand new television series that gives you an opportunity to be heard and hold your leaders accountable. Tonight on the show, we focus on the implementation of the competence-based curriculum. Is the country ready for this new education system? My name is Jason Nyantino, and I've got a fantastic panel that is going to unpack these questions tonight, which are going to come from the audience, drawn from different parts of this country. We have people coming in from Bungoma County, Nandi County, Samburu County, and of course, Nairobi County. Welcome aboard. Let's get to know who is on the panel tonight. Dr. Evelyn Jepkemei. She is an educational leadership and policy expert with a wide experience in research, curriculum development, education policy, and strategy. She nurtures a keen interest in education for liberation and self-reliance. Dr. Jepkemei, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Next in line is Dr. Andrew Riechi. Dr. Riechi is a senior lecturer, University of Nairobi's Department of Educational Management, Policy and Curriculum Studies. He is a researcher and policy analyst with over 20 years experience in educational leadership, teaching, research in Kenya and several African countries. Most welcome to the show, Dr.
Thank you very much.
Last but not least, Eunice Victoria. She is the founder and CEO, Skills to Grow Africa, from where she mentors, empowers, and motivates young people to achieve full potential. Eunice is passionate about education, technology, and health, and has over 10 years experience in training, public relations, and journalism. Eunice Victoria, welcome to the show. Let's welcome our panel tonight. Before we go to our first question, let's have a look at this video. The switch from the 844 system of education to the new competence-based curriculum, commonly referred to as CBC, was endorsed by many Kenyans in the hope that it will enhance knowledge and hone skills among our children in a much more effective way than the 844 system did. Touted as practical, as opposed to the examination-oriented 844 system, CBC has been celebrated as a system that unlocks the creative potential of our children, as opposed to one that leaves them with labels of failure if they do not pass exams.
Children didn't know how to function when their parents are not near.
Ukilinganisha hii ya sasa ni kama ili ya zamani, kama polytechnic. Mtoto alikuwa anaenda, kama ni carpentry anasoma, kama ni mason anaenda anasomea huko. Akitoka huko anajua kujenga.
CBC, it's nice because it nurtures the kid. For example, how to cook, how to sweep. But it's a little bit expensive.
Critics are saying that schools will require significant preparation in terms of infrastructure, teacher training, and development of teaching and learning content.
Tungepewa muda ndio tungejua. Sasa tuwezi compare tujue ndio tujepewa mafunzo ya kutosha.
Most of the time printing things in cyber and doing this is so expensive.
We were not sensitized so much about the CBC.
Could the planned switch to CBC turn out to be a case of jumping from the frying pan to the fire? We find out tonight on Impact Kenya. Many thanks. Those are views from a cross-section of Kenyans with regard to the competence-based curriculum. We'll take our first question tonight on Impact Kenya from Konya Xavier. Konya is a student.
How do you bridge the gap between the learners of the 844 system and the CBC? Because I'm thinking during transition, there's bound to be some information that will be lost.
Transition from 844 to CBC. What are the gaps? Dr. Jepkemei.
In my view, there is no gap. There is no gap that, in this sense that education prepares, or at least ought to prepare, the learner for the future. Okay, and so as a learner, one needs to come out of the school system understanding their environment, understanding themselves, and understanding opportunities and responsibilities that they have. When I look at many of you, and I know many of you are 844 graduates, I don't think that there is any gap. We have people who have come out of 844 and have done outstanding things. And so, in my view, there is not, I wouldn't say necessarily that there is a gap.
Thanks, Dr. I want to move across to Dr. Riechi. You talk about summative assessment, and I know it's related to formative assessment. Could you just clarify those two as you define what really competence-based curriculum means for the Kenyan people? What does it actually mean?
What my colleague said about summative, the report on summative evaluation of the 844, that is a landmark report that was done at the end, after 844 reached a complete cycle, and it pointed out strengths and weaknesses. I think that needs to be clear, but not all Kenyans are even aware of that report, which is the basis, among other reports, including the Professor Douglas Odhiambo Task Force report that recommended Kenya should implement CBC. So what was the other question?
But define CBC, because so many people don't know what CBC is.
As Evelyn said, competence-based curriculum is more about teaching what, the content in a different way so that we can focus on tangible things, some results, not mean scores, not academic grades, but outcomes. Outcomes means, include what can students do, all right? Something tangible, which has not been the focus of Kenya's education since 1963 when we became politically
So in a sense, we are saying the 844 system, as Dr. Job Kemei also pointed out, that it became so much academic-oriented or examination-oriented.
Absolutely, and that is one of the undoing. Okay. The concept of 844 was very good, but with the time, I remember parents complained, stakeholders raised a number of issues. Oh, children are carrying too many books to school. They are getting tired. Their teachers are getting exhausted. So they kept on removing some subjects, and that killed the focus of 844 and what it was intended to do.
Eunice, what has been your experience with CBC? Because there's a lot of debate around it. Kids are being told to beg in school, beg at home, carry this to school. What has been your experience about CBC?
Honestly, I was telling my colleagues earlier that actually I love the idea of CBC, and they were like, yes, yeah. And they're telling me, how about implementation? The idea could be good, but is it being implemented? When I checked, when I read about CBC and, with the experience with my kids and my nephews and nieces, what I think CBC is doing is trying to nurture this kid and involve other stakeholders around the child. So teachers are teaching in school or, training or, nurturing them in school, but are there other people in this child's life that can help us understand, what is the strength of this child?
The learning process.
Yeah, so that's where we involve the parents, the siblings, and so on. From my experience, honestly, I love the creativity aspect of it. Maybe just because my nephews and nieces are highly creative people, and it also makes you want to get involved and understand really. Oh, you love to do this. It makes you really understand the child in another aspect. I was just trying to look at what the question that was asked earlier about the gap between how to bridge the gap between 844. And this will answer, this is a question you've asked will answer this, because I work with 844 graduates from high school, from campus. And sometimes I look at this person, yes, they're telling me I graduated 4 years ago and I've not gotten a job, I've tried, and I ask, what have you been doing? They tell me nothing. Okay, what do you love doing? I don't really understand. Then what were you doing as a child? I really loved reading, I could sing, and so on. And then when I work with this person, trying to get back.
I can see Professor Riechi smiling, and I know that's so familiar. Professor Riechi, sorry, cut you short. I just wanted to pick what is in his Dr. Riechi's mind.
What she's saying is totally true about our education system, which I often, without any apologies, describe as an examination system. Because graduates come out, they don't possess skills. They have few things that they can do. And it's not their mistake, but it's the kind of education they are given, which focuses on exams. Recently, I was on teaching assessment, of our students who are on teaching practice. And in one school, I don't want to name it, I could see posters all over, including classrooms. Kick these out of this school.
Yeah.
That's an announcement.
It's a motto, it's a serious thing. I could see it in the principal's office, all over, in other schools. This year's mean score is this. When they acquire that, and the fact that most stakeholders in our education system do not even understand or do not know the national goals of education. What is education about? They don't know the goals of the objectives of each level of education. So teachers are not using the KICD curriculum booklet, which specifies the objectives of the subjects and the topics. They are using what they call NEC, Kenya National Examinations Council syllabus, which is not a syllabus. Those are guidelines to show what exams will cover. So, even if I had chance to ask some of the audience, do you know what the national goals of education, number 8? Very few will have an idea. My colleague has, my friend has already said no.
Maybe before I go for our first break, Dr. Jepke, may just give us a slight difference on how CBC assesses and how 844 assesses. Just 1 minute before we go for a break. Then we'll pick it up after the break.
I don't know how CBC assesses for now, because we're still at that formative stage. We're trying to figure out. I think the information that we have so far is that the summative evaluation is going to be multiple choice, and that the overall grade or score will be 60% school-based and 40% national based. 844, we all know KCPE, we all know KCSC. But I think after we go for break, I think I would like to talk about why no system is necessarily examination oriented.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will come back to you.